On behalf of Akuno Senko for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We trying to help our people elevate. Hope. HOPE. We giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate. And seeking knowledge make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Peace, 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 everyone. Tribal Ujima bi-weekly study group. We're back again every second and fourth Wednesday. There's our website if you want to go to our website and see some of the things that we're doing. And if you want to be a part, no matter wherever you are, you can be a part of the energy. Ujima is an energy. And it simply means collective work and responsibilities to make our brothers and sisters' problems our own and to solve them collectively together. And so here we are, stimulating mental unity, independence, and love. I want to bring on right quick, Brother Abdullah Bey. I seen
Islam.
the award that the brother got, and I thought it was gonna be bigger. I can't actually read. I was gonna read the plaque. I don't know if I can zoom in. Let me see if I can zoom in and read it. But then I was gonna bring on Brother Abdullah Bey. Just tell us a little bit about this event. But I can't read. I thought it was gonna be bigger. But you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, I wish. Where's Okono? Okono.
I'm right here.
I can pull it up.
Can you get
right
the
there.
plaque? Can you read it? I mean, can you get what I sent you so you can read it?
Yep,
Yeah, just go. Yes.
I know it's on your page. I got you.
It's on my page. Yeah, go to my page and also text it to you.
I got it right here.
All right.
So I got it.
You got it. Yeah, because I want to read it. I want someone to read it.
So the plaque that you all see, huh?
You got it. You want me to read it?
You got it right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now on his page.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Friend of Ron, Mr. Abdullah Bey, human rights educator. It is with great honor that I recognize you as a friend of Ron in acknowledgement of our dedication and our significant impact you have made in promoting human rights education. Your extensive work over the past decade in teaching nationality to 5,000 students in Camden City Public School demonstrates your unwavering commitment to the cause. Your innovative, interdisciplinary approach to developing and delivering a nationality curriculum has not only educated, but also deeply connected children and youth to the principles of human rights protections. The exceptional effort complements the mission of the youth of human rights and embodies the spirit of service and compassion that Mr. Hubbard so deeply valued. I, Ron Hubbard, once said, my own philosophy is that one should share the wisdom that he has. One should help others to help themselves. One should keep going despite heavy weather. For there is always a calm ahead. Your actions reflect the philosophy in its entirety. Your work, particularly what you do, uplifts all those you contact through education and a shining example of helping others and helping themselves despite any barriers. This recognition as a friend of Ron is not only a commendation of your outstanding achievements, but also a further responsibility. As you continue to uplift your community, I encourage you to explore and to utilize the system and programs created by Mr. Ron Hubbard. These tools have been designed to facilitate and build on the success you have already achieved, providing you with the additional resources to further your worthy mission. Your leadership and dedication set a powerful example, and it is my hope that through this recognition, you will be further inspired to continue your vital work, sharing your knowledge and wisdom to uplift even more lives in the years to come. Sincerely, Miles Parker, Director.
So I just want to say, Oh,
But
I just wanted to say, I appreciate all the work, the amazing work the brother Abdullah Bay is doing. I just commend the brother. I do want to ask, maybe tell us a little bit about Mr. Ron. Tell us a little bit about him, maybe how you know him and a little bit about his background. But I do want to just pat you on the back and commend you for your hard work and doing what you're doing, bringing the keys, ringing the bell. We often like to give reverence to, the Noble Drew Ali and others, but I want to give that same type of reverence here today. While the brother's alive, give him his flowers. I remember watching one of the YouTube videos and how we often talk in the Moorish movement as if we're not supposed to be greater than Noble Drew Ali. And I remember hearing one of the videos when he said, I'm not saying that I'm greater than Noble Drew Ali, but I can't say Noble Drew Ali is greater than me. And that stood with me. And I meditated on that, in that concept of how we, Jesus, Muhammad, Noble Drew, how we stuck in that as if we're not meant to be greater, and I'm not saying I'm not measuring anything, but I'm saying that I see brother in the same light here while he's alive. We need to understand that and let's propel ourselves forward and be awakened into our true selves so we can be more effective in what needs to be done. Brother Abdullah Bay.
yes. Elron, well, I don't. Elron Humbert has transitioned. I know the director here on the right. That's and his wife, whom I met. I met Miles Parker. I met Miles Parker at the when I was at the in New York a week after the conference, and a week after the Moorish Political Unity Conference, and the Jackie Robinson Park. We met there, but I had already had some connections with him through the telephone. Well, anyway, L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was lived in his house for 6 months in 1949. He wrote Dianetics. He wrote Dianetics 75 years ago in this house for 6 months. After 18 years of research, 18 years of notes, he wrote Dianetics, which is sold millions. So I don't know L. Ron Hubbard. Miles Parker is the director, and his wife's on the left. So it was the Church of Scientology, and that they have, and I didn't even know this, that they have churches all over the world. I mean, they have thousands. I came across Scientology 31 years ago. Brother Aleem, who's with Taj and myself. Brother Aleem was working with Taj before I met Taj, and so Brother Aleem was studied Dianetics. He had Dianetics and a few other Al Ron Hubbard's books. So that's how I found out. That's how I knew about L. Ron Hubbard, Dianetics, and Scientology 31 years ago. So this, I was very excited to be there in Bay Head, New Jersey. Y'all seen on, I have over 800. I did 3 lives. One has 800 posts, 800 views. One has 440, 20-something views, and one has over 20-something views. This was on Saturday. And one of the videos, the one that has 800 views, I had one of the brothers from Burkina Faso who personally knows my man, Ibrahim Traoré. He personally knows Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso, my man. So he did the video with me, and I got the chance to market the T-shirt, the national campaign, the rights of the human rights for the children national campaign, and it was then when I received this award. I didn't even know that Miles Parker, he actually personalized, the plaque. I thought it would be a general plaque, general statements. he actually personalized it because he got the first paragraph from chapter 11 of Moses Macy Part 2. As you can see that. If you got chapter 11, if you got Moses Macy Part 2, part of that came from chapter 11 of Moses Macy Part 2, which I sent to him, the excerpt. So he actually personalized everybody's certificate. Actually, I'm saying class certificate. And he knew everybody personally. He gave, so everybody went up and took pictures with him and his wife. And he said something personally about them, this person is such and such. And, and then I got up and he mentioned my teaching 5,000 students in the Kansas City Public School. So I'm very pleased with this because when I mentioned this to Quasi, was it Sunday, right? Quasi through text.
Yeah.
That I need to tie in my experience of teaching nationality to 5,000 students, tie that into the national campaign because it represents longevity. And then so I'm looking at that. Say, yeah, I need to tie that in. And we Sister Sasha and Brother Quasi are on the Sister Sasha Ill of the World Council of Mayors. And we have the World Council of Mayors has a committee called Save Our Children, and they're going to be bringing us in next Wednesday, Quasi, for a meeting at 5 o'clock. If you're available at 5 o'clock next Wednesday. By the way, Sister Sasha's brother Monty, who was both were at the conference. Sister Sasha, one of the keynote speakers at the conference. Her brother was accompanying her at the conference. His wife transitioned yesterday. His wife transitioned yesterday. She told me that this morning. So I'm just excited, to receive this honor because we can, and it's actually going to propel, what we're doing, to the international stage. So I'm very excited. As you see, Facebook restricted me till 2:49 today. I could not post pictures. I could not post pictures till 2:49 today. So I had Quasi and Kono post the photos for me. I was able to do lives, but I could not post any pictures. So I definitely, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about working with Quasi and Sister Sasha Eel on this Save Our the national campaign for our children, human rights / nationality national campaign for our children. So I'm very excited. I will be in New Grange, Georgia, 2 days on April 18th. Next year. That's 2 days before Quasi's event. So I plan to be there 2 days before to help Quasi market the event. I will be doing lives on my Facebook page, my TikTok and Instagram throughout the day. He has his fourth or fifth annual Easter. Fifth. Thank you. His fifth annual Easter event. And it actually grew from 2023 to 2024, so this is going to be much bigger, so I suggested to him before the conference to actually market it ahead of time, and he did that. He got the flyer out. So he's seeking sponsors. So if you could put that flyer up there, Quasi, so this is so I thank you for Quasi for giving me this, allowing me to speak on this. For having this up there for me. I'm very proud of this because not just for me, brother, everybody, anyone who knows me, not just for me. This gives us opportunity. Once again, this is Church of Scientology. They got churches all over the world. So it gives us opportunity, to market this. All right, as you see, I'm doing that. You see, I was there with the T-shirt. I was there marketing, the national campaign. I had the T-shirt on. I took the jacket off, took pictures with the T-shirt, marketing it, 3 Facebook Lives. All right. So not just for me. I'm not the center. All right. So I just want to thank you. And I'm also going to market my teaching 2,000 adult students as a passive instructor, teaching etymology, nationality, etymology, semantics, grammar, vocabulary building, dictionary study skills from 2003 to 2019. So I'm going to add that in marketing as well. This is vital. What Kwazi's doing. We see, we got to take this Moorish movement to another level. What are conscious Moors known for? You know what I mean? This right to travel, getting arrested, getting beat over the head, getting dragged out of the car, getting, you know what I mean, this, sovereign citizen. That's conscious, so we have to change that narrative. This is what I'm saying, this gives us the opportunity to change that narrative. I'm being honored by Church of Scientology. Churches all over the world. The Church of Scientology is the one that put on the Human Rights Summit that was in July. They put that on. Hear me out, my brothers and sisters. The Church of Scientology is the one that put on the Human Rights Summit that was at the United Nations, that DuPont went to, that Nakeem went to, that Raheem went to. Sister Sasha was there as well. They put that on. So what does that do? Think, my brothers and sisters. Think. Why do you think I'm going now to Kwazi's 2 days before the event? Look what Akono's doing. Are serious? Sister Bacola, but Sister Bacola is going to the Moorish Science Temple Convention. Sister Bacola, not just as a spectator. Sister Bacola is not going as a spectator. Sister going this weekend, this coming weekend, the Moorish Science Convention in Chicago. Sister Bacola was asked. In fact, one of the brothers that's on the flyer, who was not at the conference, he was on the flyer. He's on the flyer, but could not make it. He was supposed to be one of the keynote speakers. Could not make it, but he was the one that called Sister Bacola several times. Sister Bacola will be in Chicago. She's in Milwaukee now. She's the new assignment that started on Monday. So she's in Milwaukee. So she'll be traveling from Green Bay to Chicago this weekend. So she had to take off work a couple of days so she can be at theirs. They really want her to be there. All right. So you gotta understand what we're doing here. All right. I'm gonna just give me one more minute, Kwazi. We'll understand what we're doing here. We have to change this narrative. And this is how you do it. Sister Sasha, she is with the World Council of Mayors. They will be recognizing us. They will be sponsoring the World Council of Mayors. Save Our Children Committee will be sponsoring the national, the campaign, the human rights of nationality for our children national campaign. So I understand where we're going with this. This is huge. All right. So I want to thank you again, Kwazi. Thank you again, Akono, for reading that for us. Peace.
Peace. Thank you for that, Professor. We're gonna move right along. If you go to helping out,
I also want to acknowledge brother King, and of course, my man, Shim Malachi Bey, and my man Terrence. All right, Terrence Bey. So I want to acknowledge them as well, and a host of other people. But I definitely want to give shout out to those 3 as well. All right, thank you.
And so I just wanted to bring this up briefly. You can go to Helping Our Peoples Elevate to see the various sessions, the Transatlantic Slave Trade Study Group sessions, part 1 through 5, I think maybe. And this is a good summary of it that we got from Morrison Masonry Part 1, where you're able to reanalyze the transatlantic slave trade claim that was taught to us in school. On the left, you know, they taught us 12 million Africans were captured and brought over from the Atlantic Ocean, you know, to the Mediterranean. I mean, across the Atlantic Ocean to the what's known as America. That they defeated the Indians. That they set up the 13 colonies. You know, that they manufactured goods being transported across the Atlantic Ocean. That they had the raw materials being transported across the Atlantic Ocean, that they had cloths, guns, and metals being transported across the Atlantic Ocean, oil, lumber, cotton, tobacco being transported across the Atlantic Ocean. These are some of the claims that was made in the transatlantic slave trade claim during the 1500s through the 1800s. And then you look at world history. So we contrasting that with world history. During the same time period, all of this other stuff is going on. And then you start to see the motive of labeling black and different stuff because it strips you from a lot of history. And so you're that story is more believable. It's easier to accept it when you don't have knowledge of who you are extensively. You don't have an idea. You just think you're Negro, black and color, Indian, you know, things of that nature. And so you see the motive of burying the Moorish nationality, you know, and so on the right, you look at the Moorish Empire and rulership in Europe during the 711 to 1492. You look at the Moors through the treaties, you see that the Moors control the Mediterranean and Atlantic Ocean during the 1500s through the 1700s. You see that the Moors have captivity of Europeans, meaning the Europeans would be like, so the story, when they said 12 million Africans were being captured, they forgot to mention that Europeans were being captured before that claim and even during it. 1100s all the way to the 1800s. The burial of Moorish power in 1711 to 1800s gives the transatlantic slave trade strength. The burial of the Moorish power, 1711 to the 1800s, gives the transatlantic slave trade claim strength. The Moorish Renaissance, you know, the Moorish treaties. And so you look at all these various things on the right, and you're able to better look at the transatlantic slave trade and look at, was it hypothecated? You know, was the numbers altered? You know, why was your power buried so much? You know, and so this is a good reference tool of study that you can use to help with that analysis, with that with analyzing that. And so this is one of the previous study groups on helping our people elevate, and you can go there and check out this study group, because I remember I mentioned on one of these study groups with the transatlantic slave trade that even after that, I wanted to continue to promote it so people can still go back and watch it. It's still there. It's still useful to a lot of people. You know, there's still, you know, how do we know what more is? How we go into detail? We answer a lot of those questions. So be sure to go to Helping Our People Elevate and go back and explore the transatlantic slave trade claim part 1 through 5. I think it is. This is the shirt for the national campaign that Brother Abdullah Bey was talking about earlier. Seeing him, he had it on. You're able to support the national campaign by purchasing the shirt for $50. And you can see on the shirt what it says. I'm not gonna go into detail on that this time. We're still pushing at Planted Roots Community Garden. We're up, alive and well. We're growing a lot of produce, thousands of pounds of produce we've been growing, and we're getting better. We're expanding our techniques. We're facilitating the Shem Malachi Bey's plan/proposal, the outreach portion. And so that's what we expect others to do. That's on the study group, that's listening, to begin to organize and have outreach structures, systems, where you can come back and share it on the Tribal Dream Study Group every second and fourth Wednesday, so that we all can begin to learn from it and duplicate different models to show that we have understood the right of self-determination. And so we're alive and well at the garden. This is the Easter event that Brother Abdullah Bey was talking about for next year. You're able to support this Easter event. You can whatever you send will help. We need 60 sponsors of $50, which would be about $3,000 to cover the whole event. And that's even rewarding some of the staff for their hard work. And so you're able to contribute. We're also going to go into ISTAR, Venus, the helical horizon of Venus, and
Excuse me,
connect.
Quaz, it's not up there. It's the
Huh?
transatlantic plate. It's not up there.
No, I'm not talking about that anymore.
No. You don't have the flyer up there.
You don't see the Easter flyer?
No.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, I
Can
see
y'all
it.
see it? I don't see it.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, all right. No, I mean,
You
I
may
don't
have to
see it.
swipe over on the screen
All right.
to bring
Let
up
me-
the other options.
All right,
Turn
let
your
me
phone
see.
sideways.
I see the transatlantic slave trade claim when he had the previous. It's still up there. No, don't apply. Everybody can see it. That's fine. Don't worry about me. All right.
And yes, and we'll be going into the helical horizon of Venus and tying Easter to ancient information dealing with the helical horizon of Venus, and agriculture and things of that nature, and how our ancestors use astronomy, astrology, etc., as a tool to build civilizations, calendar making, etc. And so we're going to introduce things to them, and you'll see how important culture is later in the presentation. We're going to read and learn more about culture and the connection to political and international relations. So we're going to learn about that. Hopefully we get to it later. But you're able to sponsor and be a part of this event, and hopefully we'll duplicate this model. So the same concept that we got, we'll get it rolled out. This amount of staff. You need this, this food, this, and you can duplicate it. It won't be hard work. You just get the amount of people that you need. You start posting flyers. You find a venue. You find a location. You get the eggs. You get it. So we have it all written out where you can duplicate this as an outreach mechanism to facilitate the Shem Malachi based proposal / plan. And so we have to reach the community to get them, to bring them in. And so this is a strategy. It's not the event in itself is not enough. It's just a strategy to facilitate other things and to plant seeds in their mind, and to get them over to the study groups, to make them aware of certain principles like nationality. And so please support this Easter event where we're able to expand. Anything left in reserves will be used the following year, or if someone else has an Easter event and they can prove that they're well prepared, that they've shown consistency, we can use what's in our reserves to support and aid your Easter event. So just keep that in mind. That's the kind of structure that's being built before us. And so we do need your assistance and your help. This is an example.
I see it now. It just popped up and popped off. It popped. All right.
Yeah, slight delay. That rain. It's raining. This is an example of what I was mentioning. If some of you all been on some of the previous study groups, with us starting to put back $2, $3, $4, 10 quarters, whatever you need to put back 25 cents, start putting it back in the folder, putting it back in the box. So when everything starts to manifest, we won't be looking as if we don't know this is necessary. And so you don't have to send it to anybody right now. You can, or you may never have to send it to anybody, but put it back to go towards this cause. And so this is an example on how you can log that, and then you print it out or download it as a PDF, and it'll show you what's going on. And so you enter it into Excel, then you just download. It's real easy. It's data entry. So this is data entry. It's in a system, and then you can go back and look at it. You can see what's going on. So that's how we can keep up with the dues and how the funds are being spent. We'll have a committee around it. The committee, of course, will be the most active people, unless somebody got a better proposal. That'll be who's over the committee and the finance of the dues and stuff that you all be saving to go towards and it'll be more presented. I'm not saying do it today. That's not what I'm saying. He wants your money, and you missing the point. This is the idea that I want to plant into our minds, that it's necessary. We organize around it, and this is just an example of how it can be organized. So you don't think it's hypothetical speaking. This is how you actually do it. You enter it on Excel through data entry. You keep up with the records of what's being sent, what's being spent, and of course we have a mission statement or whatever we need. and the funds will be used upon what's agreed, and which is the national campaign. But we'll organize that and see how we need to do that. But just let that marinate on your mind to know that that's a proposal to help facilitate all that needs to be facilitated. I know we need finance, even though Bujali told you that. So we just pushing it forward. This is the International Human Rights Summit. It'll be next year, July 10th through the 12th. And you heard Brother Abdullah Bey speak on it earlier. So I guess this is the seating. This is how it'll be seated. And so we'll get more information on this. I like action. I'm an action kind of guy. I like action. And I like to see things, manifest and be completed and working together, and so I emailed them just to get more information. At the bottom, you see, I emailed them. I draft this message to inquire about the process on how one participates in the discussion of human rights at the International Human Rights Summit of 2025. I didn't say I want to tell y'all we Moors. So I'm just trying to see how do we take part in the conversation. And then from there we began to build our approach. And so I was gonna ask, does somebody want to take on? Because I know that I can't do it all. But I know this is what we're, national campaign, we're wearing the shirt, we're pushing the principles, and so I want to give this offer to somebody that maybe can take on. You go to International Human Rights Summit, and you can go to the live stream. They have 4 live streams of 2024, the July 18th of this year of when they did it. And I was thinking maybe somebody that's on can go listen to them stream. You may listen to one, half of one, 20 minutes of one, and eventually you'll listen to all of it and take away critical points that you see in the live stream, that you see that's a focus point that you hear them talking about, and strategies and just value that you can extract for us, so we can begin to prepare ourselves for 2025 July. If we're serious, we can't do it just 1 or 2 people. So it has to be a collective effort. And so I wanted to extend that proposal to see if somebody wanted to do that, just to listen to these various live streams and then extract from it something valuable that we can. Every study group, I'm gonna mention the International Human Rights Summit, July 10th through 12th. It can't be done alone. So it ain't just to watch somebody else do it. It's for us to organize so we can be uniform there. In our mind, remember the study group mission, to stimulate mental unity. We need to be uniform in our mind, and we'll wear the shirts. Everybody had the shirts. So start putting back, $5, $10 so you can get a shirt. Let's be real. Let's push it forward and show unity. So I want to just take a second. Do anybody want to take on and this? It's not a hurry. You just, like I say, you listen to 15, 20 minutes. What Noble Drew Ali said, we need active Moors, not passive Moors. We need people willing to be active. And if you got a better idea, you feel like this is a waste of time, something to debut it, and then tell us something else we need to do that connects the national campaign and us pushing everything that we're pushing. So I just want to open up the floor. I don't want this to be a talk group. I want us to know that we're implementing action plan. A lot of people talk about what are you doing? What are you doing? All of this is what we're doing. We have to have mental unity. We have to implement. We got to learn. We got to research. And so that is the action. And so anybody, couple people. It don't have to be one person. It could be one person may say they're going to take the first one, and then the next person may take the second one. The next person may take the third one, and next person. And then we see what we get from that. How do we need to organize what we're trying to portray to the world? We have to have a face in the international community. This is a step in it. Brother Abdullah Bey already showed you various connections and things already happening. This is our further step into it, to where we have a face to all the various nation states that participates in the Human Rights Summit. And so does anybody want to help with extracting valuable information? Or it may not be necessary. You may say, I don't see why this is necessary. I know you may say, blah, blah, we need to do this. I feel like we don't need to do that. That's a conversation. But I want to stimulate talk around this and how we're going to effectively project ourselves in 2025, so we won't just be here just saying it. So I open up the floor for that.
Yes, peace. Uh, this is Dupac Bay. Yeah, I was at the summit, and from what I gathered, it's like there was a lot of human right violations going on, and none of the violations. Uh, I mean, every last one of the violations was valid violations of human rights, but none was speaking on nationality. So we have to, like you say, look at the videos, all three, all two of the videos, or all three of the videos, and gather the information that everybody was speaking on, because you have various peoples from different nations, so their dialect, their language was trans over to us with the earpiece, translated to us through the earpiece. And I don't know, I haven't watched the videos. I don't know if they actually translated over the video or not. But everybody by human right violation was a little bit different. But none of them had an issue with their nationality. So we have to really focus on nationality and push this to the front and let everybody know who we are. I mean, we made presence there, but we wasn't able to speak there, and that's what we need to do. So yeah, it's a good thing to listen to all the videos and get the information. It's like some human rights had to do with labor, some would have to do with sex trafficking, and it varied. It varied. So, but like I said, none of them dealt with nationality, and that's what we have to focus on. How we gonna present it with nationality as a human rights violation. Like I say, nobody else had that type of issue, but we have that issue. And it'd be an interesting issue to bring up at the UN summit next year to get a full response. Like I said, there's plenty of ambassadors there. It's plenty from all over. So with that, I yield the floor. But take your time, get a few people to actually watch them. Matter of fact, I need to rewatch the videos and get the information and see how they made their presentation. And I yield the floor.
Islam, I see brother Jamal Bay. He said I can support. So what that means is we don't right now we don't have like somebody like a secretary who's gonna document everything we're saying and gonna get your email and follow up with you and call you. We don't not there yet. So when you say that, it means that we just would expect you during some of the next maybe not the next session, just in the future. And because we got time, that's why I want to talk about it, so we don't have to rush it. But for you to just come back and bring it yourself, because we won't be able to find you. I won't, type thing. I'm not just saying that to him personally, but that's the idea when people say that. That's how I hear it. And so we just expect people to bring it back on the study group. Say, hey, you remember when we talked about this? If it's not in the presentation, and we'll take time out to talk about it, maybe take certain points and then do a presentation over it, so we can make sure we're on the uniform mindset. Just planting to see on the mental part of how we can look at this moving forward. We can dedicate some of the study groups to that in the future. But anybody else?
Quasi, can I say something, Quasi?
Yes.
Because you think like I do. And I know we don't have anybody right now that's designated secretary for the study group right at this point. But it's important that we do have some structure, that we can at least take the names. Jamel, are you the one that's going to be sponsoring me in Brooklyn?
Yes, that's me.
All right, so I have Jamel's number.
Okay.
All right, so I have Jamel's number. I just want to, you think like I do, Quasi, so that we can at least, because this is very important. So we can, so we got Jamel. Can we so we got Jamel in the chat. Anybody else who wants to volunteer, just indicate that in the chat.
Islam, just one request.
Yes.
Would you be able to drop the link to the videos in the chat or share the link?
Yeah. Well, as a brother Abdullah Bay continues, I'll go find the link right quick.
All right. Amanda says she can help. So, you know, I got Amanda's number. Who else? It's that this you know, the having structure is very important. You know, because this is, as DuPont spoke so eloquently on the need for us to push the nationality agenda, you know, and this is, I'm glad that Kwasi is bringing this to the forefront of this summit, so that we can be ready, you know, so that when we found out about it I found out about the United Nations, the Human Rights Summit, the Human Rights Summit at the United Nations. It's not the United Nations Human Rights Summit. It was the United Nations, the Human Rights Summit at the United Nations, put on by Church of Scientology. So anyway, but I found out about it a week after the conference, the May 18th Moorish Political Unity Conference. So that didn't really give us enough time. You know, I let Kwasi know, and other Raheem and Sister Sasha, DuPont, and Stern. I just, you know, got it out as much as I can. But now that we know, you know, so this is, you know, so us to really push this so we can get as many people there as possible. I was trying to Miles Parker, you know, the director of Scientology. He was actually on the committee of getting speakers, and you know, he was. So I sent him chapter 11, an excerpt of chapter 11 of Most Masonry Part 2, and a few other things to let him know, because he wanted to have some of my background. And I was trying to get him to set up put me down as a speaker. So we'll see how that goes. The live stream he posted. So we have Amanda, we have Brother Jamel. All right, anyone else? Yaya, let me tell you about Yaya. Y'all, this is Brother Yaya. And we go back before Tamison was born. This is before Tamison was born. So that Tamison will be 18 next month. My daughter Tamison will be 18 next month. She's a senior in high school. She'll be going to college. She'll be studying nursing. So, all right, she's been on that track for 5 years now. She's 5 years ago said she wanted to be a nurse. I said, that may change. It hasn't changed for her. So she's on that track to being so she'll be studying nursing next year in college. She's looking at a few colleges in Pittsburgh, a few other places. So Yaya was one of my assistants one of my etymology assistants at Temple University, PASEP. And he also taught Arabic at Temple University, PASEP. He was the Arabic instructor at Temple University, PASEP. And we go back 25 years. He's right. Yes, we do. So he was one of my assistants. He actually helped me record the course that was in was that 2006, right? Yeah, 2005. I think it was before Tamison was born, or Tamison was maybe a couple months old or something like that. We started recording. We recorded. It was 12 weeks. So this is Brother Yaya. I hadn't spoken to him. Well, December 2017 until yesterday. Last night was the first time I had spoken to him for 7 years. It was great to speak to him. I just want to acknowledge him. This is Brother Yaya. All right. So we go way back. This brother ride and die with me. Ride and die, bro. This brother, yeah. Yes. So thank you, brother Yaya. You want to, you want to put your fares in the box, in the pool. All right. Anyone else?
I see
Wazi,
brother
go
Raheem.
ahead.
He just got back. He wanted to know what we were doing. And so we have the Human Rights Summit of 2024. The live stream is posted in the chat. I don't know if you can see it, brother Raheem. And what we're trying to do is get a few of us to go back and watch these live streams and to, have takeaways from it, major takeaways to help us frame how we want to present our argument. How do we want to position it? And so we want people just to go look at the live streams and write down key points, and then we, go more and deeper in it once we see the takeaways from everybody, different minds. We have a bunch of different minds listening to these videos, and then we see how we need to do what we need to do. So that's what we was talking about, bro. And so I'll go ahead and move forward to the next slide. Go to Helping Our Peoples Elevate. This isn't an updated version, but be sure to go subscribe to Helping Our People Elevate, where you can get all these recordings and see other information and hear other information that Brother Kano provides to give clarity, whether it's on the gang side or the historical side. Just be sure to subscribe. Tell a friend, get somebody today. If you haven't, subscribe right now. Tell someone else to subscribe. If you already have right now, you want somebody close, just say, hey, just on the strength, go subscribe to Helping Our People Elevate right now. Send it to a friend, and also to Moroccan Post Media. Send it
If
to
I
a
may,
friend right now to go
if
ahead
I
and
may,
subscribe.
if I may add on, yeah, update. I'm at 794 subscribers, and I just dropped a video 2 days ago when tribal nations expelled their Black members. It said 400 views, and then I just dropped one today. Dark history of forced breeding, how the indigenous women lost their nationality during the slave trade. So yeah, y'all can check those out. You know what I mean? We'll have this recording coming up soon. So peace. I get with that.
Islam. This is the silent weapons, is how it's titled. When you go to Helping Our People, you can start with part 1, then we did part 2, and then this is part 3 today. So you can go back and see these recordings. And so today we have Silent Weapons for a Quiet War part 3, September 11th, 2024, 8 p.m. And we're going to be looking into Frederick F. Martin on the office of consul and consular jurisdiction in the East. A quick summary of what we talked about last study group is capitulation treaties. And capitulation was later to be known as extraterritoriality jurisdiction, consular jurisdiction. And so we looked into that on the last study group. We looked into different treaties with China and Japan, Morocco, etc. And we looked at the China Constitution, where it identified, like Brother King, you in the investigative committee research study group, you'll see, or not study group, but you'll see where Brother dives in and talks about those things. And so we went into like identifying people in the contract, how China identifies the party as the Chinese citizen, Japan as the Japan citizen, Japanese citizen, and Black people as it. You see, there's nothing solid to go back to support that. So we've been stripped in the international arena. We can't really protect our children because of the silent weapons of a quiet war. Because of the weapons, the legislation is a weapon, is it a bomb? So that's kind of the tie-in into why we're here talking about this. We're looking at it in the context of capitulation, which is two meanings. You got the capitulation, the war meaning of that's been led to mean surrender, and then you have the international meaning of capitulation, dealing with extraterritoriality and consular jurisdiction. And so we're going to go into Frederick F. Martin on the office of consul and consular jurisdiction in the East. And these are some of we're not going to read all of it, but we're going to go into exploring consular jurisdiction as an aspect of international administration to the benefit of the international community. In the context of the silent weapons, because we got to remember, the silent weapons are maintenance tools to keep us, collapsed, to keep us in this state that we're in. So these are silent weapons as maintenance tools to maintain what had already happened through conquest and colonization. And so the reason why we're going into this is so we can see the maintenance. We're not even at the proper level of expression in the international community. We're not expressing ourselves properly to render something good for our children and the future generations. We're not even operating properly, and we'll see that as we go forward. And even us saying that we're Moors, I'm saying we still have to come of how we operate though, as Moors, not just saying it. And so these are some of the key points that we'll be looking at: is exploring consular jurisdiction as an aspect of international administration to the benefit of the international community, the paradox of consular powers, the phenomenon of consular jurisdiction, a consular jurisdiction as an instrument of raising the level of civilization. And so remember the Easter event, you're going to see culture and civilization is tied. And so, but all that is too tied to how you express yourself in the international community. You'll see how that's tied in as we hear more about Frederick F. Martin. And so culture and civilization is tied to our expression in the international community. Your culture has been suppressed through the silent weapons. And so you're not able to operate and run civilization because we don't got a clue what's going on. And so these are some of the weapons that's being used as maintenance of our expression in the international community, our suppression of culture, which then we can't express and operate as civilized people. And so, yes, religion as a mirror and determining factor of the level of civilization. And so a little bit about him, Frederick Martin, his biography: was born ethnic twin parents at Parmu in the Governmente of Livona of Russia Empire. Martin was later raised and educated as a German speaker. He lost both parents at the age of 9 and was sent to Lutheran orphanage in St. Petersburg, where he successfully completed the full course of studies at German high school, and in 1863 entered the law faculty of St. Petersburg University. In 1868, he started his service at the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In 1871, he became a lecturer in the international law in the University of St. Petersburg, and in 1872, professor of public law in the Imperial School of Law and the Imperial Alexander Lyceum. In 1874, he was selected special legal assistant to Prince Gorchakov and then Imperial Chancellor. Frederick Martins was a diplomat and jurist in service of Russian Empire who made important contributions to the science of international law. He represented Russia at the Hague Peace Conference, during which he drafted the Martins Clause and helped to settle the first case in international arbitration, notably the dispute between France and the United Kingdom over Newfoundland. As a scholar, he is probably remembered today for having edited 15 volumes of Russian international treaties. And we're not going to go into this one. We probably won't make it today. But the next study group, we're going to look at Section 4, an overview of international humanitarian law provisions concerning the end of international armed conflict. And so just looking at capitulation from the state of war sense of the modern meaning, and as well as, we're looking at capitulation from a treaty perspective here today. And some of the sections that we're going to look at is the concept of international armed conflict, the state of war, international armed conflict, and belligerent occupation. And so, oh, okay, no. All right, and so we're gonna go to here. Let's see. Okay. We're gonna read from so this is the section. This is the first section we're gonna start off on. I don't know if y'all can see it. I'll read it. And feel free to stop me and we can expound and talk about some points if you see something that set out to you as we begin. So this is the first section from the PowerPoint I was showing you earlier. So exploring consular jurisdiction as an aspect of international administration to the benefit of the international community. In Martin's view, the analysis must depart from two key concepts, i.e. international community and international administration, which he sets out in the introduction to his doctoral thesis. As far as concerns the former, Martin defines international community as a community whose elements are the modern civilized states, which maintain their full autonomy and independence within that community. He then specifies that membership thereof is based on the essentially identical culture and civilization of the respective states, which are linked through common social, political, and cultural interests on the broad basis of essentially identical aspirations and congruent worldviews. This degree of likeness is, in Martin's view, only fully recognized for European Christian states, and importantly for our topic, at its most rudimentary for the Oriental states. We are the Oriental states. They're talking about you, the Oriental states. And so you're looking at it from a perspective of the enemy. You're looking at it in a perspective of someone that supported conquest of your Moorish land. So that's why it's good to read this, because you're looking at it from a different perspective. So international community also became one of the cardinal concepts in Martin's course, which is basically a college lecture or a school lecture. In Martin's course, to the extent, and this is where I'm at. I don't know if y'all, I'm right here. To the extent that at times his whole doctrine was referred to as the theory of international community. In any event, the concept is key to understanding the manner in which Martin absorbs the distinction of civilized and non-civilized people, which was so common for his time and to his own reasoning. And so you'll see these terms on how they say, that we're non-civilized, and they use that part of their conquest that, since we're not under Christianity, and all of that we're not civilized. You'll see them pushing that on how they push their conquest is through little labels and stuff like this, uncivilized savages and barbarians and, non-civilized people, which was so common for this time and to his own reasoning. To him, having reached a certain level of culture and civilization is both necessary and sufficient condition to be a member of the international community. So now we see the motive in the Easter event on how you see they taking away the culture and replacing it. And so that's why it's important that we facilitate these Easter events, so that we shine a light on our culture, the heliacal rising of Venus, and how it brings in the rain season and the corn maze, and even dealing with calendar making, that knowledge. So that's part of culture. So at the Easter event, we're facilitating that to bring people to be more aware of their culture. That's part of an outreach mechanism. And then, in the future, we're still going to look over the Shem Malachi Bay proposal and break that down to make sure we're clear. I haven't forgotten that I said that. So we're going over the issues, but we also know the solution. And so we facilitate structure the Easter event, something annually that we all can support, and then we begin to model this in other areas. But what we're doing is putting a light on culture, though. and civilization is both necessary and sufficient condition to be a member of the international community, since it coincides with the ability to be an effective and constructive player in the life of international relations and international law. Martin was therefore convinced that the degree of participation in the international community is a direct reflection of the degree of development of any given state. And so when I kept seeing it say state, 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 and I know I mentioned the Montevideo Convention in one of the last study groups, and I said we can't be in a hurry with this. I learned that through agriculture, through gardening. I remove a rush mindset. That's removed from my thinking. And so we won't rush through things. And this is how I study. I move slow. I got to check out everything. And so I'm taking you, somebody asked in the previous study group, how do you know how to study? So that's all I'm doing in the study groups, taking you through how I study. So when I see state like that, we need to have a clear meaning on what state means, or we'll think when somebody come to you, they'll say they got a state and you'll believe it because they got a website and they got documents and they issuing cards that has a nationality on it. And, and so through that, we accept that and we act like we're already there, like we've met some kind of place of recognition in the international world. And we get caught up in being better than other countries' Moors, rather than dealing with the issue like Noble Drew Ali them was trying to do. We get caught up in trying to be better than other Moors. And so we got to be clear on what a state is so you won't get caught up in that. A lot of people tell you they got whatever they got. And so, but the basis is having a state and and having knowledge, further knowledge, but we got to have a state. So let's look at the Montevideo Convention and let's read what a state is. Let's look at how a state is defined. And then as you come to the research committee with Brother King, Brother King spearheads, which we need collective support, and we have to all be learning so that we become effective and useful in this. And when I say useful, meaning that we're active, we're not just listeners. And so this is just structure being facilitated for action. We need everybody's support. And in King's research, he talks about the principles and norms of law. And so when I read and look at the Montevideo Convention and different documents that I read, I automatically see who's a party of the contract, which is not important in what I'm presenting, dealing with the definition of a state, but the knowledge of just taking time to see who's a party of the contract to see if it applies to you. You're not in the United States Constitution. So when we assume that it applies to us, we leave room for color. A lot of color can be applied. And so it makes room for them to accept you if they want to, or deny you if they want to. So that's not a well-settled approach to protect the children of the future. A lot of people say that they got success with cases doing whatever that they did with the United States. I understand that, but I also know knowledge. I also know I'm applying the knowledge of chess and that things are connected. If I can get a body of people to push in color, meaning saying that you are part of the United States Constitution and you're not, to go along with that, meaning you're accepting however they're the narrative, they're the narrator. We're accepting how they want it to go because we're limited. We have to go to the United States Code. We don't have power in the United States Constitution, and so you always need to go to the contract. You learned that in these classes to see the parties identified in the contract. And so I just do that. I do that routinely now. And so we're gonna start at Article 1. We're gonna read them, and we're gonna look at, do we got a state? And that's what we're facilitating. And so somebody just take maybe 4 or 5 articles, and then the next person take it. And I may just stop you. I may go in while you're talking and stop you, and we may expound on it. And so don't feel bad if I do that. So somebody may start with Article 1, read a few articles, and then we'll talk about what is a state. We got to be clear on what a state is to interpret what Frederick is saying in international law and knowing how capitulation applies. If you're not clear on what a state is, you won't know how capitulation applies because you won't see that it's dealing with jurisdiction from one state to another foreign state and how that applies. So we got to be clear on what a state is. So somebody read a few of the articles.
Article 1, the state as a person of international law should possess the following qualifications. A, a permanent population. B, a defined territory. C, government. And D, capacity to enter into relations with other states.
You'll see in the treaties and other documents, which I'm still learning too, but you'll see where you see surveying, where they survey. You hear Brother Dula Bay talk about it. So it was introduced to me, then I continue to look at it. But you see about surveying. So when we just say that we have defined territory, it has to be surveyed and things laid out. We don't have a permanent population. In order to have a permanent population, meaning you have a census, you have self-determination, that you're doing something for yourself, not just, that you're a principle of international law of self-determination, defined territory, permanent population, having a voting process, showing that you're organizing something, that you have something going on, that you're organizing. So it's a process to implementing and having a state of international law. It's not a conversation or a document. It's a process that you see, that's tangible, that you feel. In government, the capacity to enter into relations with other states. I mean, to defend your principle, meaning you got a militia, you're able to enter into relations. You have somebody to represent the state that has knowledge. Because I heard some people say, what's the point? What are y'all doing? What are you actually doing? It's plenty to do. But if you don't have somebody to represent the state, the body of people properly, then how can they actively go do whatever you talking about doing? How they able to do it and having it protected if there's nobody to represent the state that has the knowledge to? And so you start to see the connection and everything that you can't just have gardens and gun clubs and not political protection, because we're missing a lot of the weapons like that. I mean, we're oblivious to what the war is. All right, you can go ahead.
Article 2, the federal state shall constitute a sole person in the eyes of international law. Article 3, the political existence of the state is independent of recognition by the other states.
So look,
even before,
it says the political existence of the state is independent of recognition by other states. Reason I want to stop on that, because I know when I got to do this, because when I was coming into the movement, I was like, did y'all know this? Y'all said, how we know they're going to respect, how we know they're going to accept us as more, y'all know this, man, what I'm talking about. How do y'all know they're going to accept us? How do we know they're going to, like that kind of thing. Y'all know this, that you said it to yourself. How do we know that they're going to, how we know they're going to approve this? How we know that they're going to accept the Moorish treaties? They're going to violate the treaties. How do they know? And so I said, damn, it ain't got nothing to do with the recognition. We don't understand what's going on. And that I immediately started to understand it's a level of consciousness we don't have. I mean, we got it. We have some on here now. I'm saying and working together as conscious Moors, we don't have as far as a structure. And so that's why I want to present the Shem Malachi Bey's plan and proposal, because it helped me see the clear vision on what need to be done, and it's inclusive. It includes everybody. It's not, you just got to actually look at it and learn it and not just keep going based on another group you like better type thing, and so, but that stood out to me, Article 3, because it has nothing to do, y'all looking at it, it has nothing to do with the recognition of the United States. United States is a state, Japan is a state, France is, so a state in the international community has nothing to do with the recognition of France. It has nothing to do with them saying that you can do it. Now, you have to meet the qualifications of what a state is. That they didn't come up with it. It was already well settled. You'll see in Frederick, some of Frederick information, that this is something the Ottoman Empire, etc., that was already practiced. You know, so it's not new to the Islamic world, this concept. And so we're not looking for recognition. We're looking and taking the principles that's well settled so we can organize amongst ourselves, so we can express ourselves in the international community, not asking for permission. We ain't operating right. And so I just wanted to say that. Thank you, Amanda. You can go ahead.
Article 3, the political existence of the state is independent of recognition by the other states. Even before recognition, the state has the right to defend its integrity and independence, to provide for its conservation and prosperity, and consequently to organize itself as it sees fit, to legislate upon its interests, administer its services, and to define the jurisdiction and competence of its courts. The exercise of these rights has no other limitation than the exercise of the rights of other states according to international law. Article 4, states are juridically equal, enjoy the same rights, and have equal capacity in their exercise. The rights of each one do not depend upon the power which it possesses to assure its exercise, but upon the simple fact of its existence as a person under international law.
So we gotta even be a person first, and then things start to change. You know, things start to change. We ain't even got to that. You know, I know we think about funding and how we're gonna do this, how we're gonna do that, but we're not even in the right position. So we just need to organize and continue to learn so we can express ourselves correctly as what a state is. And we won't just get caught up in just saying on Facebook and into the world that we're Moors. We express it in a diplomatic manner to show that we're civilized. But go ahead, Amanda. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Article 5, the fundamental rights of states are not susceptible of being affected in any manner whatsoever. Article 6, the recognition of a state merely signifies that the state which recognizes it accepts the personality of the other with all the rights and duties determined by international law. Recognition is unconditional and irrevocable.
So the Moroccan state is already recognized in international law. You're not coming asking for, it's already recognized. But Negro, Black, and color, African American, Indian, etc., is nothing already previously well settled that's recognized about them people. I mean, them labels, you know. And so the recognition of the Moroccan state is unconditional and irrevocable. So it's not for no, it's already there. It's already there. All right, man, you can go ahead.
Article 7, the recognition of a state may be express or tacit. The latter results from any act which implies the intention of recognizing the new state.
And so we're not a new state. They talking about new states, but it showed you earlier in the previous article that the recognition is unconditional and irrevocable. So that's your reversion to sovereignty. You can always revert back to sovereignty. It's just told you, it's unconditional and irrevocable. You always can revert back to your sovereignty. And then it talks about new states too, but we wouldn't be that. We wouldn't be a new state because we're under that. The recognition is unconditional and irrevocable, meaning we going back to something that already exists. So we're not a new state, but new states can be implemented. But so you can see that even new states can be implemented. So we're pushing the reversion of sovereignty post-millennium. All right, Amanda.
And I just want to add, and to find the express or tacit recognition of these other nations, their recognition of Morocco, whether it was express or tacit, and where it was either or.
Yeah.
Okay, Article 8, no state has a right to intervene in the internal or external affairs of another.
And so now you see the intervene. So now you're talking education of the children and your food and your water, and they don't have the right to intervene in the internal affair. That's an internal affair. Policing your community, getting drugs out of your community. If you do it now, and without a state to protect you. If let's say you have a gun club and there's a million of them, and you patrol in your communities and an altercation happens and something happens and somebody get hurt, somebody dies, you'll be tried in the United States courts in a colorable venue with no protection, no consular to protect the interests of what you was doing, what you was trying to do, And so that's how all this ties in. They don't have the right. You read, I didn't say that. Article 8, no state has the right to intervene in any internal affair. That's an internal affair. Getting drugs out of your communities. You can't address it till you got a state properly. So I've just, because I used to be a part of a gun club, still a part. I mean, I still understand, still push that concept, but just think about that. You can go ahead, Amanda.
Article 9, the jurisdiction of states within the limits of national territory applies to all the inhabitants. Nationals and foreigners are under the same protection of the law and national authorities, and the foreigners may not claim rights other or more extensive than those of the nationals. Article 10, the primary interest of states is the conservation of peace. Differences of any nature which arise between them should be settled by recognized pacific methods. Article 11, the contracting states definitely establish as the rule of their conduct the precise obligation not to recognize territorial acquisitions or special advantages which have been obtained by force, whether this consists in the employment of arms, in threatening diplomatic representations, or in any other effective coercive measure.
So right there, that's what's going on to us. You had the Moroccan Empire, the contracting states, France, Spain, Portugal, Great Britain, etc. The contracting states definitely established as the rule of their conduct the precise obligation not to recognize territorial acquisition of special advantages which have been obtained by force, whether this consists in the employment of arms and threatening diplomatic representations or in any other effective silent weapons of war coercive measures. And so I hope I'm getting that, I'm reading that correctly. How I'm receiving it is that territorial sovereignty can't be obtained by force, right? They would have to go to the contracts to see if it's done properly. All right, what y'all get out of that?
That the states need to be sovereign in order to basically enter into that contract as a contracting state. And so if they're not, which would be them taking the territory by force, then other states that may seek to engage or do business with them would not be able to.
Okay, anybody else want to add to that, what they get out of that in application of what's going on with us? If not, we'll go ahead and go to Article 12. I just, kind of get a collective mindset on, because we're all learning and studying and growing. And I learned that getting an interpretation from various minds is beneficial to how you progress in the information. But go ahead, Amanda.
And I also wanted to add, because I'm reading it again, that it's those contracting states that make the rules as this is whether or not we're going to recognize them.
Yeah, and then so black is not a contracted state. Moorish American is not a contracted state. It's not a term used in any international treaties, Moorish American. But go ahead, Amanda.
The territory of a state is inviolable, and may not be the object of military occupation, nor other measures of force imposed by another state directly or indirectly for any motive whatever, even temporarily. Article 12, the present convention shall not affect obligations previously entered into by the high contracting parties by virtue of international agreements.
So it's talking about the treaties. So it says this, whatever they're talking about in this convention, has nothing to do with the previous contracts entered into by the identified parties. Has nothing to do with it. And so everything, all the relations of the Moroccan Empire with the contracting party still exists. They're still operating off of it. This is stuff that happened later, so it doesn't alter the previous contracts. Because Morocco is not even a part of this, but we're just getting the meaning of state. The whole point of this was so that we're clear on what a state is and that we can't operate without this knowledge. We can't be effective in our communities without having the umbrella of international protection. We can't be effective in growing vegetables because if you get big, they'll just use legislations to take your farm, or your tax. So we understand that. So we can go ahead, man.
Article 13, the present convention shall be ratified by the high contracting parties in conformity with their respective constitutional procedures. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Uruguay shall transmit authentic certified copies to the governments for the aforementioned purpose of ratification. The instrument of ratification shall be deposited in the archives of the Pan-American Union in Washington, which shall notify the signatory governments of said deposit. Such notification shall be considered as an exchange of ratifications.
I said signatory governments. We shall notify the signatory governments. So there are people that sign on behalf of the state, the political interests. And so the United States, even if Moors was a part, it was on behalf of the foreign government. So it still didn't apply to the native Moors. The signatory government, the people that signed, if it was 1,000 Moors, it was with Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson, even if it was 1,000 of them with them, and they all signed, it had nothing to do with the government of Morocco, the Divan. It had nothing to do with that. So I just wanted to show that also expounding on this because of King and the Investigative Research Committee and where they shining the light on this. So you got to go to the signature page and see who's a party of the contract. But you can go ahead, Amanda.
Article 14, the present convention will enter into force between the high contracting parties in the order in which they deposit their respective ratifications. Article 15, the present convention shall remain in force indefinitely, but may be denounced by means of 1 year's notice given to the Pan-American Union, which shall transmit it to the other signatory governments after the expiration of this period. The convention shall cease in its effects as regards the party which denounces, but shall remain in effect for the remaining high contracting parties.
What do we see out of every nation state of the earth? China, we see France, etc. We see all these countries. What do they have in common? Have a permanent population. So you're able to have a basis of, they got a permanent population. They're able to run government. They have a defined territory. You don't have that in the United States Constitution as a Moor. You don't have a permanent, because it's United States census. It's not Moor census. And so you see all the nations of the earth have something in common. They got a permanent population. They got they're able to run government. They got a defined territory. Everything you've seen in Article 1. We don't have that. Go ahead, Amanda.
Article 16, the present convention shall be open for the adherence and accession of the states which are not signatories. The corresponding instruments shall be deposited in the archives of the Pan-American Union, which shall communicate them to the other high contracting parties. In witness whereof, the following plenipotentiaries have signed this convention in Spanish, English, Portuguese, and French, and hereunto affix their respective seals in the city of Montevideo, Republic of Uruguay, this 26th day of December, 1933.
So when somebody tell you that we have the federal Moroccan government, or whatever, or they got whatever government, sovereign citizen government, or a government is a state. So you have to look at the principles of what a state is. Do they have a permanent population? Do they have a defined territory, surveyed, recognized, already in the treaty? Do they have a government body? Do they have the capacity to enter into relations with other states? You know, militia, you know, military. Are they able to sustain themselves? Do they produce anything food-wise? You know, you just look at all this operation is one thing. It's not that you can do one of them and say you're a state. It's an operation of autonomy, independence, meaning you don't need somebody else to live. And so when they say to you that they have that, you can go back to the Montevideo Convention on the rights and duties of states, and you can compare it. You can look at their website and their documents, you know, and their photos, and their 1-800 number, you know, and their seal, you know, that they created. And, you know, and then you go look at the Montevideo Convention and you see not that they got pieces of it. You look at the Montevideo Convention and you look at what people saying, that they have a state, they got a website, they got a seal. You know, they don't have a permanent population of voters. They don't have a defined territory that they can express, because they don't have a state to express the defined territory. Even though it's already the territory is already there, we can't express it because there's no political body around it. You know, so you ask yourself that when you see these websites popping up and these people saying that they're consulars, you ask, who's the head of state? Who appointed you as consular? You know, then they tell you who appointed them as consular. You know, then you look at the records, the voting records of who all voted. You know, you check them out, but it hasn't been done. What you go, then you look at the Human Rights Summit, you look at international community, you see where they representing the Moors and the unconscious Negro, Black, and colors. You look for that. If they saying that they are state on behalf of the Moroccan Empire, they have to be doing that. If they're not looking out for those classified as Negro, Black, and color, you know, and the conscious Moors, then what is it that they have? And so we'll go back to, so are we good on state though? Anybody, what do we learn about a state? Do you know, anybody want to just say something about a state? What did you, if you didn't know something before, or if you gained clearer understanding, etc. Would anybody want to say anything about a state? Can an individual execute a state? Can individuals do it? Can 10 people do it? You know, what do we gain from the Montevideo Convention, the rights and duties of states, and how it applies to our situation, how we all need to be a part, that it, you know, and what it takes. You know, so the study groups are to facilitate, to be able to do that. If we don't have nothing to say about a state, or we didn't know, or, you know, and all of that, that's why these study groups are important. I mean, it can't be done without the study groups then, if we don't have nothing to say. And so anybody got anything to say about a state? And just to give more clarity, you may say something that we didn't say that helps the next person that's listening. Collective learning and not individualism in everything that we practice. I got to do it better too, but I'm putting it out there just so anybody want to talk about that, about what they got out of a state, out of the definition of a state.
That it's based on the will of the people.
Anybody else? Besides Samantha, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was real interesting. Jamal Bay here. I thought it was real interesting. I thought about it on a local level. That looks like, I guess, the individual nationalizing or claiming nationality. And then, you know, on a higher level, the way he broke it down, the way, you know, going through those items, it just brought more clarity. You know what I mean? Being able to defend yourself or growing food. Because I guess you got to have items to barter for trade, right? To get your gross revenue up. But yeah, I appreciate the explanation and the reading. Thank you.
Islam. Anybody else? What they get out of that? You know, because it's also learning for myself when I do that. I'm talking for me, I'm speaking for myself. When I do that, I know that I know that I'm still learning. And so I look for every opportunity to hear from others so I can be more well settled. So I do it as an opportunity so that I'm able to advance, because sometimes I miss study groups. Y'all may went over some of this. I'm just doing my duty on what we need to do. I know that we can't do it alone. So when I do this, I'm looking for us to we all gonna learn from us participating. And even myself, I learned from, like, even brother just answering it. You got export and import, I didn't mention that, but yeah, you want to deal with commerce and who's going to regulate you selling to, nations of the earth. Who regulates that? The United States and their regulation. And so all of that plays effect in how we protect our interests. And our interest is our sovereignty. Anybody else on state, just kind of build with me. What do they get out of that, out of state? We have a state already. We don't need a state to do what we
I
need.
learned that if there's a state already established, then they don't have to, if I was understanding it right. If it's a new state, then there's changes and like laws that have to be followed. But if it's already an established state, then it can't be bothered, and that there are certain protections from already being an established state. And that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So yeah, a new state would have to, it's certain things they would have to do because they're a new state. But an old and original state is a contracting party. And so they have previous contracts deposited in international law. And so they deal with the treaties as a contract. And so that means they have already set forth the obligation and intention of the rights and duties of the two states. As a new state doesn't have anything already settled. So yes. So yeah, that's a good takeaway. Anybody else?
Yeah, I was just to say something. This is Tara Nova L.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have autonomy that a state should have, which means they don't depend on other people or the states to be sovereign. I happen to be a member of the CMYE, and it's a new state that is establishing themselves right now with the United Nations as an NGO, but they represent the Moors in regards to Yamasee Washita nations. And so they have a monarchy and a republic, both at the same time. And so they're developing their bank, they're developing their university. These are all very young, brand new endeavors because they have to establish themselves to do business with other nations. So that's why an NGO is the correct avenue to register with the United Nations as far as being recognized to the rest of the world. We're encountering that right now. So we're going to be making some trips over to the United Nations and establishing the Moors on the map officially as a state with its own currency, its own its own bank. So it's going to have everything that a state is supposed to have, but it's a long journey for the Moors to get established and have those treaties and flags be under one umbrella. So I just wanted to make that comment, and I yield.
Islam, I don't know if anybody want to say anything to that, but I will say, in the future study groups, we will talk about the Shem Malachi Bey's plan and proposal and how we're able to unify all our collective efforts. into one collective effort, like, so not to dispute anything that she said, but to take that and to just look at the Sharon Malachi Bay plan and proposal and comprehend it and understand it to see if we can become more effective in our presence in the international community. So I will commend you for your work and invite you to continue to come to the study groups as we will go into the Sharon Malachi Bay proposal to see how we can align our efforts as our goals are the same. But I digress with that. If anybody else want to come on and say anything about the state, go ahead.
Islam.
Islam.
And you know I deal with words, you know, that's my thing. And this is for everyone. Because we want to everyone look up later on when they got time to look up what a monarchy is, what a republic is, and then also what an NGO is. You know, how is an NGO established? So that, you know, we have the knowledge on what is an NGO, how is an NGO established, and that was.
Peace. You went out, brother. Brother Abdullah. And yeah, you went out. We can't hear you right now, brother Abdullah. Can y'all hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So anybody else got anything to say on the state? We just making sure we on the same, because that's what, remember, the whole point of the study group, Tribal Dreamer Study Group, is to stimulate mental unity. So I just want to be sure that do we understand what a state is and international law, just to hear from a few of us to see if you're catching on to what the state is. Go ahead.
I'm back. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah, we back up. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so just for everyone to look up monarch. What is a monarch and a monarchy? What is a republic? What is an NGO and how is an NGO established? Everyone, so that everyone can have that knowledge for themselves. Have that knowledge for themselves as how is an NGO established? What is the scope of jurisdiction of an NGO? And the fourth is establishing the United Nations has nothing to do with it. Let's take the United Nations out, because we have to take the United Nations out of the picture. United Nations has nothing to do with any nation state sovereignty. Nothing. United States has no skin in the game of any nation state sovereignty. There's no establishing sovereignty with the United Nations. The people, who has skin in the game and more sovereignty? Who has skin in the game and more sovereignty? The people these are the people in my neighborhood, in my neighborhood, in my neighborhood. Who are the people in my neighborhood? The people that we meet and we walking down the street. The people that we meet each day. Now I'm just you know what I mean by that. The millions of unconscious Moors and the thousands of conscious Moors. These are the ones that have the skin in the game. United Nations has nothing. The United Nations has no skin in the game when it comes to a recovery of lost more sovereignty, restoring more statehood. United Nations has no skin in the game. None. This is Moorish sovereignty. The United Nations, there's no establishing a Moorish state with the United Nations. United Nations has no skin in the game. Like United Nations has no say at all. The people that you meet when you're walking down the street each day, the conscious Moors, the homeless, you know what I mean? Whatever condition, unconscious, conscious Moors, they are the people. And I can, for the life of me, for 31 years of observation, the conscious Moors keep overlooking that. The conscious Moors, for the life of me, continue to overlook the people that you meet when you're walking down the street. They keep going, talking about United Nations, this left Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, or whatever, left foot, whatever. They don't talk about the people. Like, for the life of me, they don't talk about the people of the United Nations. Has nothing to do with it at all. The people do, the conscious and unconscious Moors. This has been, I'm trying to figure out why this is, trying to figure out why this is not, it's so, it's not getting across. Not y'all, it's just, I'm baffled though, I'm baffled. I'm baffled. I yield.
So, peace. Anybody else got anything they want to say?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Most of them, most of it has to be constitutional. A lot of
Hold on. What'd you say? What did you just say?
A lot of it has to be constitutional.
Okay,
even
so
though
explain what does that mean? Because I'm not being. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm just saying I get lost. If everything else you'll say, I'll be lost. What do you mean by
sure
that?
you can be a Moor, but a lot of you can be more like Abdullah Bey says, there are a lot of conscious Moors, but a lot of them are overlooked. A lot of them are overlooked in a lot of things. A lot of constitutional things are overlooked. So,
Well, I mean, like who's I'm just trying to just make
like
sure I know.
in the court, they so a lot of things in the courtroom, like say if you want to do things in a courtroom or something like that, they'll say, no, we won't, no, this can't be done. No, this can't be done. Or they'll say, no, this can't be done. No, this can't be done. They'll say, it's like they'll sweep things under the rug. A lot of things are swept under the rug. Things that are known are swept under the rug, that are already known by higher Moors. And that is known. I don't know if other Moors know that, but Moors, a lot of Moors that are conscious, they're overlooked by other Moors, and they'll say, we'll leave them alone for right now.
Amelia, can I let me say this, Amelia, and this for everybody. One of the ministers of Burkina Faso, one of the ministers, Burkina Faso, because of the turmoil that had in Burkina Faso, where French had control, and there were a lot of terroristic acts going on, and there was a coup. Ibrahim Traore, all right, 2 years ago, all right, through a coup, all right, was able to take over, and the people wanted him, so he's the president of Burkina Faso. Well, anyway, one of the ministers recently mentioned that they're gonna write a new constitution. The French drafted their constitution. The French drafted the Burkina Faso's constitution. One of the French professors drafted Burkina Faso's constitution, current constitution. So they're gonna gonna do away with that constitution. So when this is the kicker right here. I'm about to go into the kicker. He said the ministers, I forget minister of what department or what ministry, stated that we're going to go to the people. We're going to go to the people and see what type of government they want. Now we talk about Constitution, Amelia, and this is for everybody too. We're going to go to the people. So when you're talking about a constitution, you're talking about, we're not talking about the United States Constitution.
Oh, I know.
But I'm saying, so we're talking about the people. The people and the Constitution are one. The people and the Constitution are one. As I said, the minister stated that we're going to go to the people and see what type of government they want. And we're going to do away with the Constitution that was drafted by the French. All right? So I said that, I said that to say this is real now. We're talking real. This is not something I made up. So they're going to actually go to, when you talk about Constitution, 2 weeks ago, Kwasi showed the Italian Constitution, the Japanese Constitution, the beginning, where it says the people of Japan, the people of Italy. I mean, I explained this to Okono yesterday. When we're talking about the proper application of the political application of nationality. And I said, in a constitution, why in a constitution where it says the people of Italy? What does that mean? The people of Japan. What does that mean? That's in a constitution. That's the word people used in a political sense. You have people used in the political sense. You have the word people used in a general sense. So let me give you the people used in the general sense. The people in the park. The people in the park are playing soccer. That's people being used in a general sense. People being used in a political sense means the repository of the collective sovereignty of the people vested in a constitution. So when you see, as Kwasi showed 2 weeks ago, the Italian Constitution and the Japanese Constitution, where it reads the people of Italy and the Italian Constitution, that has a meaning. So the people in the Constitution are one, because that represents the national sovereignty of the people vested in a constitution. That's a fundamental principle. The court, so we're not talking about United States Constitution. We're just talking about fundamental principle of Constitution and why, and word people, and the national name of the identity of the people of Italy, the people of France, the people of Germany. So I'm talking political science right now. This is what you will learn
Yeah.
in political science. All right, I yield.
Mm-hmm.
Islam, was you anything else, Amelia? Did anybody else want to say anything about the state and what they got out of the state? Brother Kano, you want to tell us a little bit about tomorrow, study group tomorrow? You all make sure you get on. What's the title for the study group tomorrow, Brother Kano?
It's gonna be why is color used in the United States? Why not nationality? Part 3.
So y'all be sure to come on. It'll be the same link. We'll send it out tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be 7 p.m., not 8. And we'll continue back with Frederick's information thesis October the 9th. I know that's not the 4th Wednesday. I will actually be in Boston for the agricultural conference. And so with that, you know, I'm traveling around meeting the body of people that's dealing with agriculture, you know, and a lot of the issues that they run into is like the farmers losing their land, you know, high taxation and, you know, all kind of different issues. And so their issue is territorial sovereignty and more sovereignty. They don't know that, but I'm saying that that's a body of people it's a lot of them that's known, you know, all across North America. And so I'm building a relationship with them, you know, and learning, being more studious myself, so I'm learning what the issues are. I didn't come tell them they mores and all of that. I'm learning, getting to know them, building the trust. They see us forming. We got stuff in common, but we can meet that piece. The missing knowledge of Moore's illustrious sovereignty is the missing piece to their taxation and the land and all the issues that they have, but they don't know nationality as the solution. And I understand that. And so I go to various different conferences, and we'll be going on the 4th Wednesday, on the 25th, we'll be headed to Boston. So that's why I won't do the study group that 4th Wednesday, and we'll start back that 2nd Wednesday of October, which is October the 9th. And so we'll be back with Tribal Dreamer Study Group October the 9th. But Brother Kano will still be on the 25th, on that 26th, I think, on that Thursday. That'll be the 4th Thursday. So you probably still be able to get on with Brother Kano on the 26th. That's that Thursday. And so I don't have anything else for you all. I just want to encourage you all to do the work when no one's looking. This is not all the work we do when we get on the study group. So this is just where we come together with uniformity of mind to learn, to expand. But we have to expand with one mindset. It's too much.
Remember, they gotta show Brother Quaggy some more love on the YouTube platform.
It's too much different ideas and thoughts, you know, and we look like we're you know, expressing something valuable, which it may be, but we look weak to the international community because we just keep talking division. We have to be uniform in thought.
Hold on, mute your phone or mouth a device.
We have to be uniform in thought and mindset. So there's more work that goes on. We need assistance. We need help. It's not enough for us to get on. And I keep saying this. I'm gonna keep saying it. It's not enough just on the study groups 2 times, 4 times, 6 times, 8 times a month. That's not enough. That's so we can facilitate mental unity on what needs to be done. But we need more study groups. You know, we got to prepare for the Human Rights Summit. We need people watching those videos that was posted. For the live streaming, we need people to learn, being part of the Investigative Research Committee. You know, we need people having outreach methods. It don't have to be agriculture. That's just what we use as our outreach mechanism and other things that we use. But having an outreach, a systematic outreach, not and just an event. You can start with an event. That's good to have an event, but I'm talking something ongoing. You know, that's ongoing. But an event is good to start. We do something once a year, study group, once every other week. But yeah. So we what you see on the study groups is not all that's done. That's not all that we do. We do things that you don't see. And so that's what we expect from others, not just to get on here and talk, about what they've done necessarily, but to implement strategies where we are effectively together dealing with reversion to sovereignty, where we're effectively moving on one accord. Just a bunch of random study groups don't really. Now, I'm saying it'd be different topics, but I'm saying we have to be channeling all the listeners to one thought, to one thing, reversion to more sovereignty, not UCC, like as it's the major thing, or we trying to file a trust so we can start a reversion of sovereignty, so having a state and operating in the international community is that's the circle above your head. All the other stuff should be a means of reaching that, not that we already did it. We're already doing it. It's too much of that I want to do it first kind of mindset. It means nothing in reality. It's just, I don't come on to hear you say that and then that's it. We want it to be done. We want to express ourselves in the international community, but we just need to make sure we like a fist that we bind our concepts into the Shem Malachi based proposal and plan learning it, and so that we can, as one fist, everybody, we know what we want. I mean, we want stuff. And so as a unit, we're pushing more sovereignty, not UCCs, not, anything else, but reversion to sovereignty, which encompass all of that: taxation, protecting your people, food, education. And so that's the superior thing. Everything under that is, it's just us filling in certain things, but we must, in our study groups, when you do start one, we need to show that we're unified. Go ahead.
Wait.
Go ahead.
What you say? Let me shut this off.
You talking to us, bro? Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay. But yeah, you all, we just gotta move as one. It's a journey. It's not an overnight thing. We haven't done it. Nobody's done it already. Nobody's in the international community, pushing for more sovereignty, and reversion of more sovereignty and post-millennium. And so we need to do that as one collective mind, because we're dealing with various nations. We're not dealing with just the United States. You got a lot of nations that are looking when we talking, and so even if we do go there and we just talking about stuff, we're going to be laughed at and they won't take us seriously. And so that's what we're clearing up. A lot of misconceptions and confusion is why it hasn't been prepared, because there's a lot of misconception. Some people ask, why hasn't it been done yet? The answer to that is because it's a lot of misconceptions and confusion. And so when people tell you that they already did it, they have not done it. They're saying that to you. And then when you hear that, you thinking it's already done. So you get discouraged when you get hit across the head. When you tell them they don't have jurisdiction over you, you get upset when they shoot you, when they taser you, and you say that the Moors just be talking. It hasn't been done. They're saying that. And so now we have to clear up the misconceptions, and it slow down what's going on, because we're also clearing up what our own brothers and sisters are doing and projecting. So we have to clear that up. In order for, so we're also battling against ourselves too. We mentioned the Europeans a lot and what's going on with the Moorish movement, the silent weapons, but it's also our own brothers and sisters. Even they don't do it on purpose. They want the best for the Moroccan Empire, but through the misconceptions and the ideas and concepts, they hinder the progression, because we're looked at as one people. When they see the whatever you want to call them, the Temple Moors, this kind of Moor, that kind of Moor, that they look at us as just the Moor, and so we see each other as thinking we different, got different stuff going on, but the rest of the world just see you as one thing, whether you know it or not, whether however you feel about it, however many books you read, when you go out and you talking about more sovereignty and you got a state and you got a government. They see that when they see us, they see that they thinking we talking like that. And you think that when you come listen, you thinking we talking like that. So there's misconceptions and confusions even on our own side of the field that they're not murdering us, you know, they don't want to do that, but I'm saying that slows down the movement through misconceptions. And so that's why it hasn't been done. And the reason why it hasn't been done is because the maintenance of the misconceptions that's pushed through some of our people we see as leaders. And so we take that and we reproduce it. And so we become not as effective as a civilized state, according to Frederick. And but that's all I got here today. We'll be back October the 9th for the Tribal Jima Study Group. And all is well. Peace.
Peace.